Hello there guys and welcome back to the channel. So we are back again with another Alliance War. Alliance War number 9 in Season 22. This time ASR is going up against GT40. Now technically the Alliance War isn't quite yet finished, but I have done all my fights and so have most of my Alliance. So I'm gonna go ahead and voice over this one a bit early because I have a busy day at work. Right, so I'm scheduled to take Path 1, deal with that Annihilus, Iron Man Infinity War, Korg, and that Mojo mini-boss on Vigorous Assault. However, this war is gonna go off the tracks quite early on, and it's not gonna be in a bad way, it's just gonna be one of those things that happen. So, to start off, I am on Path 1 in Section 1, and I have the Tigra to deal with, which has Vigorous Assault and Arc Overload. So she starts the fight with a regen buff, which makes her unblockable due to Vigorous Assault, but other than that, it's not really all that much to worry about. It's just kind of dealing with the Tigra itself, which isn't the easiest fight, but it's also not the trickiest, and I have done that fight a whole bunch of times. One of them was quite sketchy, but that was totally on me, and for the most part, it's relatively safe. In addition to all of that, I'm bringing in a rank 3 6-star Doom, putting on some medium level boosts, and I feel extremely safe and confident, not all that worried at all, especially considering that I have seen Tigra there more than half of the times in season. So again, going in, checking the nodes, we have the Stubborn active. Not entirely sure if Tigra is a Stubborn defender, but anyways, right, so I always love when they go to their block kind of like pretty much immediately, so that gives me time to stall for the regen to expire, the armor up and regeneration buffs expire, they feed my Mystic Dispersion, and past that point, it's a very standard affair where you just do your regular Doom combos, get your level 3, drop that level 3, and in this case, by that time, the fight's pretty much over. Again, absolutely nothing to stress. I get my level 3, 18 hits in the fight, largely thanks to the buffs that expired at the beginning of the fight, gave me some extra power. I'm gonna drop my level 3. At this point, she was like nearly at 50%. After level 3, she's at like 20%. Couple more hits from my basic combos, and the fight's over. Very simple, very stress and fluff-free, very uneventful. And next up is going to be Invisible Woman. And now this fight is a bit more interesting because I had options. First of all, I could bring in Warlock because Warlock deals with masochism relatively well and he has bleed on his heavy attacks, so that helps counter some of the Invisible Woman's abilities. But I'm going to go with Human Torch because, right, and the plan here is to capitalize on Human Torch's ability to bypass miss if he's about 10 temperature. And that is the bit of the plan that's not gonna quite work out. And I actually got a bit annoyed at myself. Now, I will be doing just about fine in this fight. I will not lose my combo, I will not get smacked heavily in the face. But at the same time, I didn't really keep my temperature up. And even though the fight went all right, I was still somewhat annoyed with myself in this case. Now, I am taking all of the special attack hits in block on purpose to help me gain smolders because those are energy attacks. In addition to all of that, having those debuffs placed on me by Invisible Woman is super helpful because that just feeds my willpower heal. But we can see, even though I have 4 smolders at this point, my temperature is still very low. And because of the limber in this fight, more so than anything else, I'm not really finding good places to charge my heavy attacks much, and my temperature is pretty much lingering just below 10 for most of the time. That means I'm not bypassing the invisibility at all, which kind of ticked me off. I know I could have played it better, and I'm gonna get my temperature up towards the end of the fight. So I drop a heavy attack here, so I'm at 15 already. I have 8 smolders. I get it up to 20, drop my level 3. And at this point, I was like, oh, finally got the temperature up. But it's a bit too little, too late, because that level 3 actually finishes the fight off. And yeah, so I did this fight pretty much entirely without using the Human Torch's ability to bypass miss. And next up, we're going to have to deal with Domino. And Domino is a bit a dodgy defender. First of all, the strike counter Fury node is very scary compared to strike counter power suppression. Not gaining power is annoying, but in vast majority of the cases you can just kind of ignore the node. But opponent having a bunch of furies is very, very scary, especially if the opponent is Domino, because Domino is one scary bipolar girl to go up against. And also, when you're using Warlock, if you're not too careful, you can give her a lot of opportunities to pass a bar of power, and that gives her a lot of opportunities to go lucky. So you have to be very, very careful in this fight, and Domino is kind of like notoriously one of the most unpredictable opponents to go up against. And there we can see that I actually did eat a couple of hits, thank God for that indestructibility boost. But other than that, I'm doing relatively good of a job managing my hits, staying within like my quote-unquote allowance to prevent her from building the Furies. I'm dropping my level 1s as soon as I can, and slowly but surely the fight is coming to an end. And if you're watching it, it probably seems like a reasonable type of fight, nothing too crazy. But if you're actually doing this war in like a very high-stake alliance war, it's very dodgy and nerve-wracking fight, because it's Domino, because everything can go wrong in a minute, and if she does land a combo, she can basically stun loop you to death, and you consistently, slowly but surely lose power, either to chip damage or her crit fails. So yeah, it definitely was a bit of a stressful fight, but that is over. We didn't die, which is what matters, and we are ready to move on. Now, that was last of my contribution to the section 1, to the first day. At that point I went to bed, and as I said, I was scheduled to take path 1 in section 2 and that Mojo mini boss. As you can see, path 1 has been taken by a teammate of mine who accidentally misclicked on wrong path, which kind of left me to do path 3. Now luckily I do have good enough options, if not perfect options, for both of the fights on path 3, and I was going to take that Korg anyways. Now there's still the issue of me not getting that Mojo mini boss, and I always really hate when my fights are taken from me, because I do want to do as many fights as I can, because it's Alliance War. You want to feel as if though you are contributing the best you can to your alliance, and there is just something quite upsetting when you wake up and you see, aha, my fights are gone. But either way, we still have 3 absolutely wonderful fights. Now the first one is Colossus. Colossus gets placed here primarily, I think, it's kind of like a Corvus trap. But I haven't seen anybody in history of any ever who's not using Corvus to die to this guy in this node. So bringing in Warlock is pretty much the perfect counter, because it's bleed immune, and to be honest, that's all you really need. And Warlock's also a tech champion. That means I can still armor break Colossus, and I can manage those armors, even though this node actually doesn't play to Colossus' strengths, because whenever he gains armors, they are automatically removed via the node. And it's a very straightforward fight. It's kind of like fighting in Realm of Legends, pretty much, just minus the stubborn and minus the level 3s. And yeah, a couple of level 2s later, fight's over. Very simple. Now, next up is Mordo. And Mordo is notorious on Alliance War defense, and anywhere pretty much, because his AI is different than the rest of them, and sometimes if he doesn't throw special attacks with that huge power gain that he gets, it can get extremely dodgy. And even though at this point it was pretty much clear that ASR has won the war, we have a fairly significant lead, and we are leading in terms of exploration as well, we are gunning for the number 1 spot. So I want to do everything I can not to go away to death. It just also happens that yesterday was the day that invulnerability boosts were in store, so I actually ended up using 2 of them. I still have 6 left overall, and I'm looking healthy on the boosts, and the boosts are there to be used, so I'm using the indestructible 3 boost for a second time in this war, just to stay safe, just to make sure everything goes according to the plan. But this Mordo seems to be working with me extremely well. He's not holding his special attacks. He's obviously a Mystic champion, so Torch is absolutely blitzing him down, and it's a very quick and simple fight. But when you go and fight Mordo, you just never know, because you can have those bad times with him, and the fights can go sideways extremely quickly. Next up is Korg, and this Korg has strike counter, power suppression node, which I said I don't mind too much, especially for most of the champions that you typically would bring in there. And then there's Buffet, which obviously gives him substantial heal, and it's Korg, so you do need to counter Korg's abilities. I'm going to bring in Human Torch here with pre-fight ability active, because his no flames are passive, so you can't strike them off. And his level 1 is actually energy damage, so I have an extra opportunity to build my smolders. And even though the fight is class disadvantage, since Human Torch does energy damage, you do not take any damage from Korg's signature ability, so it's another one less thing to worry about. And yeah, the fight does go quite well, apart from this moment where I didn't react to his unblockable level 1, but that's what the indestructibility boost is there for, and he's going down quick. At this point I have 6 smolders on, and just will have to bait out that level 2, and once that's done, the fight will be pretty much sealed away. So he throws his level 2, still indestructible, but I do block him, and it is over. Right, so Human Torch did a lot of work this war, which is very well. It's kind of like my standard attack team at this point, pretty much. Some of the champions are interchangeable with Quake, but we can see that we only have pretty much the boss fight left there. And at this point in the war, we are quite significantly in the lead. We only died twice thus far. We have 30 nodes left to explore. Obviously, the war is still left there for us to lose, but as I said before, since I'm going to have a very busy day at work, I'm just going to go ahead and do the voiceover now. And other than that, I hope you guys enjoyed the war video, and if you did, hit that like button, hit that sub button, hit all the buttons, and I'm going to catch you guys soon. See ya! Hello there guys, and welcome back to the channel. So we have all the information about